Hello, I'm Bernard Keavy. This afternoon I wanted to talk about what I like to call competition crushing marketing, or you may have heard it described as persuasive marketing. Now, what I mean by this is that it's all to do with the 80-20 rule. If you get your marketing right, then you'll be the company that's dominating your industry because you'll be the person getting the 80% of the business, which means that the rest of them will be sharing 20% between them. So that's why it's called competition crushing marketing. And the thing is, not many businesses know the process to follow to actually do this. And if you do know the process, then you could be in that happy position. So there's 4 basic rules of marketing. There's have something good to say it to the right people, say it well, and say it often. So let's just look at each of those 4 elements and see how we can apply them to your business. So the having something good to say is what we like to call a market dominating position. So it's similar to what's commonly known as a unique selling proposition, but it doesn't have to be a unique selling proposition as such. It needs to be perceived as being a unique selling proposition, and it needs to be tied into your ideal client and what motivates them to buy. And 70% of the time, what motivates people to buy is a negative. It's a problem, an issue, or a concern that they want to be rid of. 30% of the time, it's something they're hoping to gain, which is a positive. So your market dominating position has to be a unique perceived selling point or benefit, and it has to be tied into what motivates your ideal customer to buy. So you need to know who your ideal customer is, and if you know who your ideal customer is, you then need to be perceived as an expert or a specialist in your field. And if you're perceived as an expert or a specialist in your field, and if you've got something that meets what they're looking for in terms of buying better than your competitors, then that gives you your market dominating position. But the thing is, you've never got a complete, utter market dominating position. You've constantly got to be innovating and working on it. Peter Drucker, who's a well-known marketing expert, said that there's 2 important things in business. One is marketing, the other is innovation. Everything else is just a cost. Well, actually, he's more or less right, except that innovating is part of the marketing, because the innovation is what gives you a constantly improving market dominating position. So that's having something good to say. Saying it's the right people is obviously your ideal customer. Now, you may have more than one market niche that you can specialize in. That's fine, but you need a market dominating position that can be targeted at each of the different market niches that you specialize in. So there's no point being a generalist to everybody. You have to identify ideal customers, ideal customer niches, and then you have to have your market dominating position tailored, bespoke to exactly what motivates each of those market niches to buy. And this is called strategic marketing. The whole of this actually is strategic marketing, because there's a bit more to it. So we've got the have something good to say, and we've got to the right people. You've now got to say it well. Well, what do we mean by saying it well? Well, there's 2 aspects to saying it well. The first thing is you have to cover or follow what's called the conversion equation, or the marketing equation. And what this says is that at any given time, most people, most prospects are in what's called downtime. They're on autopilot. And the only way you can actually grab their attention is to get them into what's called uptime, where they pay attention to what you're saying. So the first thing you need in any piece of promotional material, marketing material, or what you say, if it's an elevator pitch or a networking pitch, what you need is something that will grab their attention, which is called an interrupt. And that basically is your headline or the first thing you say. Now, 70% of the time, what motivates people to buy is an issue, a problem, or a concern they've got. So therefore, most often, your interrupt will be a negative. It'll be, you've got this issue, problem, or concern that I know about. You've then got to keep their attention, because it's no good just capturing their attention and then, not having anything further to say. So you need to keep their attention by saying, I know you've got this issue, problem, or concern, and I can offer you a solution to it, which is called an engage. You then need to educate them, and the educate is everything else that you say or write or cover in whatever it is that you're using to promote or to generate the lead. And the educate basically says all the benefits of what you can offer, all the people who've used it and what they thought of it, all the testimonials, all the social proof that you can raise to prove that what you're offering is better than the rest, than the competitors. And then you need an offer. a call to action or an offer. So there's the headline interrupt, there's the engage subheadline, there's the educate, which is all the specific things about what you can do and how it can solve their issue or concern and what they need to do to get it. And then an offer. Now the offer has to be a low risk or risk-free offer, because otherwise people, if they don't know you, they're not going to actually take the extra step and take advantage of your offer. And this fits in very nicely with this next bit here, because at any given time, it's been proven that only 3% of buyers are now buyers, of potential buyers are now buyers, which is what this here is showing. At any given time, there's a sort of an ongoing process where of 100 possible prospects, 30% will never buy, no matter what happens, but we don't know who they are at the start. But 67% of them will buy, but only 3 are ready to buy now. So 67 are future buyers and 3 are now buyers. So you've got this thing called the buyer's journey. And over here, you've got the 100 who potentially could be buyers. You've got them making a journey called the buyer's journey across here. And along that journey, some will decide not to buy, which is the 30%. Some will eventually decide to buy, which is the 67%. And at any given time, 1 to 3% are now buyers. So a big mistake in your conversion equation here is to have an offer which is trying to sell to the 67% of people who are not ready to buy. So what you really need is, I suppose you need to address both things. You need something that you can sell to the now buyers, but the most fruitful area for you to be marketing to are the future buyers, and it's called nurturing a prospect. And the way you do that is you give them what they're looking for, and what they're looking for is information. Because over here, they don't know anything about the product, the service, and why they might want it. You give them enough information about benefits and possible ways they can use this to their advantage. That piques their interest. So that's giving them information. They'll then have concerns or worries about, well, if I buy this, is it expensive? Is it going to disrupt what I've already got? Does it fit in with what I've already got? Do I really need it? Is there any urgency? All of these are objections, and you need to give them then further information to help them overcome the objections, and then they'll get to the stage of thinking, well, I'm either looking to buy or I'm not. So you lose 30%, and the 67% filter through to the soon to buy buyers, and that's when they're at the stage of thinking, well, okay, I can see why I might want this. Now, who would I buy from? And that's when they start looking at things like testimonials and looking for information as to why they should buy from you rather than the others. And the thing is, if you do this properly and nurture them along the way, then you'll be in the 20% that get 80% of the business. In fact, you'll really be in the 5% that get 95% of the business, actually. But let's just run with that one. Because what happens is, it's been proven that most buyers need 5 to 8 plus contact points before they're ready to buy. So that's 80% of them. And 80% of sellers give up after 1, 2, or at the most 3 attempts to, keep in contact. So 80% of buyers need more contacts, if you like, than 80% of sellers are in a position to give them, which means that the 20% of sellers who keep going, nurturing the prospects along the buyer's journey, they're the ones who get 80 plus of the business. But it goes further than that, because this is the this is the say it often. So this is the say it well, and this is the say it often. Now, going back to the say it well, this is how you actually this is the style you would follow. So the thing is, what you want is anything that you use to promote your business needs to be long on content. It's called long copy. And the reason for that is because, going back to this market dominating position and perceived market dominating position, which is the important thing, because it's how does your ideal customer perceive you? Psychologically, if someone says lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of good things about what they're selling, then people think, well, there must be lots and lots and lots and lots of good things to say about this thing they're selling. Whereas if you only say a few things, it conveys the message that there isn't that much that's worth saying about it. So it's been proven time and time again that long copy beats short copy. If you look on the internet and you look at any of the promotions from these internet sellers, the professionals who sell on the internet, they tend to be pages and pages long with repeated attempts to get you to commit. So they are very much into long copy. There's a famous case study in marketing called Schlitz beer, where it was proven that if you take the time and trouble to actually explain in detail what it is you do and why it's so good, you will beat the competition, even if what you're doing is similar to what they're doing. So there's two bits to this market dominating position. One is you want to innovate your business so that there is something about your product or service or terms that is better than the competition. But two, you need to explain it in such a way that you go into far more detail than your competitors, which is the long copy bit. And those two things together give you this market dominating position. But although you want long copy, what you want is to be short in style and specific in style. And now what I mean by that is you want short words, short sentences, short paragraphs. So it needs to be concise in style, but long on specifics and long on content. And you don't want generalities. You don't want, we offer excellent service. We're a family-run business. We've been going since 1825. None of that actually matters to the potential prospect. What matters to them is specifically what it is that you are offering them. What is the specific benefit to them? And then how can they justify it with the specific detail that they'll also be looking for? Because the way buyers work is they buy emotionally based on perceived benefit, but then they will justify to themselves in terms of detail and information. So they actually want both. They want the benefits of actually owning the thing, which is the emotional thing, which persuades them to buy, but then they want to be able to justify it because everyone likes to think they've made the best buying decision. So to summarize all of this, what we're talking about is a process as a whole that's called persuasive marketing, which is strategic marketing. It's having something good to say, which means that we have something about what we sell which will beat our competitors. It's either a better better quality, better feature, better something about our product or our service or our terms, but something that we can actually spell out. And we constantly innovate our business to improve this market dominating position. But we also explain it better than the competitors, which again contributes to this market dominating position. Once we've got that, it has to be focused on the psychographics. So our ideal prospects will have demographics. That's things like where they live, what they do for a living, how much they earn, what their age is, are they married, are they single. But they'll also have psychographics, which is what motivates them to buy. And the market dominating position has to address the psychographics of our ideal prospects or customers. We then need to say it well. So that's having something good to say. This is saying it's the right people. Saying it well is following the conversion equation. So we need to interrupt by saying this is your major issue or concern, or if it's a positive, this is what you're trying to achieve. But that's less frequent. That's 30% of the time. The issue, concern, or problem is 70% of the time. We need to address that headline issue with our headline or with the first thing we say, and that's called an interrupt. We then need to promise a solution, which is called an engage, and that would be either the second thing we say or our subheadline. We then need to explain in our main what we say or what we write or what's printed, etc. We need to explain how it works in specifics, following this style here. And then we need to have a risk-free offer which engages with the 97% of buyers, potential buyers who haven't yet decided that they're ready to buy, with a view to accompanying the 67% who will eventually become now buyers, so that when they get to the now buy stage, they buy from us. So that we're amongst the 20% who keep going long enough for the 80% to make their buyer's decision. And that is the secret of persuasive marketing. And it's all to do with you want to explain in full detail what it is that you do so that your internal reality is perceived on the outside. But although you want to explain it in comprehensive detail, you want to be short in style. So you want short paragraphs, short words, short sentences. You need to be very specific rather than use generalities. And you need to have a low risk way for prospects to engage and commit to you. So a low risk offer. And that is how you go about persuasive competition crushing marketing. And the reason it works is because of this 80-20 rule. So we'll go back to this to wrap it all up. Effectively, what happens is that it's called a nonlinear relationship. If the marketplace in general perceives that one company is slightly better than all the others, then they might be, say, 3% or 5% better. Well, that doesn't mean that 3 or 5% more of the marketplace will go to that business. It doesn't work like that. What actually happens is, if there's a clear perception that the one business is either better or is communicating what they do better, a lot of the marketplace will go to them, not just 3 to 5%. And it becomes more and more cumulative, because as you capture market share, you've got more cash, if you like, more resources to plow back into further improving your proposition, to employing better people, to using better systems, to marketing yourself more and better, you know, better systems in place. Oh, and being able to pay better rewards to people who are prepared to put money into the business, pay higher wages. All of those things mean that it becomes cumulative, and once this process starts, it becomes like a snowball. And as it becomes like a snowball, that's how you start to dominate your marketplace. And that's why I call it competition crushing marketing. Because as you move towards, instead of having, say, 20% of the market, you move towards having 80. If you think about it, that means all the rest have only got 20 between them. So you really can do some damage. But the corollary is that if you're not doing this and someone else is, they can do some damage. So really, it's the sort of thing you have to do. These are the rules you have to follow. It's not an option to stay where you are, because someone will be doing this, and if it's not you, it'll be someone else. So there you go. That is called persuasive marketing, or strategic marketing, or competition crushing marketing. I hope you found that interesting and useful. If it was, would you mind sharing it and you know, liking it and all those sort of things? Thank you very much for your attention. Bernard Keavy, and that was persuasive and strategic marketing. Thank you very much.